I want to focus on two things that you touch on very profoundly. They've been on my mind my whole life. Let me just try to get this out very quickly. But you talk about terminology, language, words, the words that are used. We're going forward, we're not looking back, all that stuff. It's very interesting. It's communist language, it's always the future. And then there's this thing about joy, and communists. It's very interesting, these two things, the language and also this joy thing. Now, I'm trying to be really quick with this. I studied exorcism years back. I regret that I did a little bit. It scared me a lot. You have to be spiritually equipped to study it. But at the same time, I don't regret it because I learned even more so. Not that I don't know, but the power of Jesus Christ really shines through because you begin to see how terrified demons are of Jesus and of even his name being spoken. Why I'm bringing this up is the theologians and the exorcists, they all talk about how before the exorcism, the person that's going to be exorcised often engages in frivolity. They often, oh, hey, how you doing, Father? Hey, you want double cream, double sugar with the coffee? They put on this masquerade of joy and frivolity. And that always struck me. And we know a certain community and communities in our world that hijacked the rainbow. And they engage in a lot of this frivolity too, that everything's great and everything's perfect. And I'm very interested in their humor. Like even, for instance, leftist humor. When you watch Ellen DeGeneres and you watch, like, let's say David Letterman or just all these leftist comedians and just the humor that they engage in. There's never any reality. It's always very wacky. It's always scrambled. It's always very chaotic. So where I'm getting with this, let's just talk about this joy for a minute. This fake joy and what it's camouflaging. And you have mentioned in your interviews and in your writing, there's a certain theme of joy and Maoism, isn't it? And even my parents, and when they told me, in Stalinist schools, and when they were taught that they're building communism and they're headed towards the future and everybody's very happy. And, I even think about those commercials when I watch the commercials of the drugs that they're offering. And they show these people running down the hill and they're promoting this new drug and they're like, oh, and they're dancing and they're laughing. And then this little voice goes, could cause suicidal thoughts and death. And, and that's very much connected to the communist joy, isn't it? Let me hand that over to you. But there's something very much about this when Kamala Harris talks about joy. It's not really real joy, and behind this joy are Pol Pot's killing fields.
Well, that's 100% right. When you're trying to sell something that's diabolic and anti-life and pro-death, which communism is, which is basically Satanism with a scientific veneer, a social science veneer, they've got to portray, people don't choose to go to hell. They don't wake up in the morning and say, I want to go to hell. It sounds really good. It's couched, you can enjoy yourself. You don't be restrained by bourgeois morality. You can experience the joy of being a real human being. Let your emotions flow. So this fake joy, the real joy in life comes from doing the right thing.
Amen.
That's real joy, but they've got to do this fake joy. The word joy was used by Mao a lot. Chairman Mao's words gave joy to the people. Slogan, when we fight, we win, is a Maoist slogan, whose slogan, we're not going back, comes directly from the Communist Party USA. These are communist slogans. So you're right. There's this fake joy. And when you saw Kamala Harris's interview with Brett Baer, and he brought, I think it was Brett Baer. Brett Baer, and he had a woman on whose daughter had been murdered by some illegal aliens. And Kamala's, I can't, it's so horrible what happened to you. I'm so sorry for what happened to you. But there was zero responsibility for the fact that she let these people across the border who did this. It was fake as a $3 bill. And that's Kamala Harris. She's fake. Her joy is fake because communist joy is fake. The Nazis had the slogan, strength through joy,
Mm.
but what was their joy? It was killing people they didn't like. It was suppressing all thought that didn't go along with what Hitler said. So, communism and crime and evil has to be sold in joyful terms. Smoke dope, it'll make you feel great. Take drugs, free sex, whatever. Just give yourself up to pleasure and joy. But it's all fake, and it all leads in one direction. And communism is the most evil political system we've ever had, and I put Nazism as a form of socialism too. So they're all together. They're collective, they're demonic, they're evil. So when you see Kamala Harris cackling, it's very reminiscent of what you think of as a witch, cackling in the Middle Ages. There's something false and something off about it.
Yeah.
It's not the joyful laughter that you get from one of those traditional American comedians, the Red Skeltons or the George Burnses, who actually loved America and loved life. No, it's fake, and it's horrible stuff. That's why so many people just turn off Kamala Harris, because she's completely inauthentic.
Thank you so much, Trevor. My father dedicated himself very much to studying, also through Dostoevsky, just this what this laughter is of the demons, and there's something about
he wrote the demons, the devils, about those young guys who formed a little cult, a little death cult, a little socialist death cult. Dostoevsky is just such a brilliant writer for analyzing human evil and how it can come out of some pretty banal things, but it grips you. And I think Dostoevsky would have a field day with the Kamala Harris campaign.
No, absolutely, and
all about it.
Absolutely,
you might not believe it.
Absolutely, Trevor. And so my dad, I was very influenced by my father, and I've thought about this my whole life, this joy. And in Goodfellas, when the main character Henry Hill, that he's playing Henry Hill, when he gets arrested and he goes, I knew they were cops, because if they were wise guys, they come with smiles. And there's something, we know that this is analogous to how the communists come to, how the serpent came to Eve in the Garden of Eden. He didn't come and try to intimidate her and with thorns. I'm sure, the way he presented himself, John Milton writes about this too in Paradise Lost, but we know that how he must have presented himself to Eve. I'm sure that if a serpent can smile, he promised her some happiness and joy with explaining to her that she could become just like God.
And all she had to do was break one little inconsequential rule. Look, you just break this little rule and look what I'll open up to you. You can have this happiness and this joy and whatever. And we've been paying for that ever since.